Did you know that you can input array variables directly into specific nodes like the destroy actor node? This trick works for variables whose parent type is object, such as blueprint actors. Say goodbye to cluttering your code with for each loop nodes everywhere. Are you already familiar with this tip? If so, you are probably an age-old Unreal Engine expert. But regardless of how good you are with Unreal Engine, I still promise you that I will blow your mind in this video, plenty of times in a row. So let's get fully started now. Never waste time selecting the same asset again. Simply click on the asset you want to select every instance of and press Shift+E. You can also select multiple different assets and do the same. Congratulations, you've just saved hours of your life with this trick alone. If you have a vector array variable, you can check Instance Editable and Show 3D Widget to get a visual representation of your points. You can even drag these points around to adjust their values effortlessly. By the way, these tips are in no particular order, so there could be a mind-blowing tip at any moment. So don't just skip to the end, but instead watch the whole video to truly level up your Unreal Engine skills. This next tip completely blew my mind when I figured it out. In the material editor, you can rename pins however you want. This only works with parameters though. So to rename pins, first click Convert to Parameter and then edit the pin names in the Details panel. Simple yet incredibly useful. Did you know you can easily edit the preview thumbnail of assets in the content browser? Just click on Settings and enable Thumbnail Edit Mode. Then you can just tweak the thumbnails like you want. If you messed up, click the Revert button. To exit Edit Mode, just click Done Editing. You can also capture a thumbnail for maps. Just go into the level you want to capture the thumbnail for, then right-click the level asset. Under Asset Actions, click the Capture Thumbnail button. Now it will capture what you currently see in your viewport and set it as the thumbnail. Make debugging easier by using the warning or the error tag in front of your print string messages. Now you can easily differentiate which systems fail and which don't. If you often fiddle around with such complex code, then why don't you just shift-click on a connection to highlight it? This allows you to understand where a connection is going while you can freely move around in your graph. You can easily add Premade widgets to control the audio of your game using the Audio Widgets plugin, which you just need to enable in your project. Then you can use any of these Premade widgets, which are very easy to set up. If you don't like the way it looks, you can easily customize its design using the different settings in the Details panel. You can show editor stats like the FPS in your title bar. Just go to Edit, Editor Preferences, Performance and enable Show Frame Rate and Memory. If you want to optimize the experience of your game for everyone, so also colorblind people, then you can preview your game how a colorblind person would see it. Go to Editor Preferences, click on Appearance and set the Color Vision Deficiency Preview type to whatever you want. You also need to adjust the Color Vision Deficiency severity to be bigger than 0. Now if you are colorblind, you can check Color Vision Deficiency Correction in order to have an easier time developing games in Unreal Engine. If I tell you about this next tip, you won't understand how you lived without it for so long. You can now disable nodes to prevent them from compiling. Let's say we have two print strings here. If I disable the first one, it will be completely ignored and we will only get the screen message from the second print string. When you want to enable it again, you will see options for development only or always. If set to always, it will print all the time. You can also set the other nodes to development only, like this branch for example. To enable this awesome feature, go to Edit, Editor Preferences, Blueprint Editor Settings and turn on Allow Explicit and Pure Node Disabling. Easily find any asset you want by mastering the content browser search syntax. When searching for the name of an asset and you only want exact matches, just add a plus symbol in front of your search. For the opposite effect, add a minus symbol. This way no asset containing that word will show up. To search for a specific asset type, simply add the type after the name you've searched for. You can also search directly for an asset type, but be aware that assets named the same way will also appear. To avoid this, use type equals followed by your type, like type equals static mesh. You can even search for specific metadata. Those details you see when hovering over an asset. For instance, if you hover over an actor static mesh, you might see the UV channel count. To search for assets with specific metadata, just type it in with the desired count. Combine these techniques for super specific searches. Here's a perfect example. Let's say you're searching for an asset with names containing everything except old. The type should be static mesh, the vertex count should exceed 3000 and the LOD count should be exactly 1. Voila! You've got exactly what you searched for. From here, you can easily create a collection to access any time again. Here's another content browser tip. If you have the search browser selected and need to quickly search for an asset, just start typing without clicking the search bar first. If you know your folder and asset names, you can navigate through the content browser at lightning speed. Create amazing soundscapes for your games by being able to hear sounds while in the editor. For example, with this ambient sound here. If I click on the top right and adjust the editor volume, I can actually hear the sound while in the editor. This makes tweaking settings so much easier. Now, before we move on to the next tip, I want to quickly mention something that's not exactly a tip, but could be incredibly useful for many of you. If you're looking to supercharge your Unreal Engine development, check out my marketplace products. I've created a range of tools that can seriously level up your workflow. Take the Functions Megapack for instance. It adds over 500 new nodes to your toolkit, making development significantly smoother. I've also got a plugin that enhances the visual appearance of your nodes, plugins for Steam integration, time management solutions, and many more. If you're interested, you will find links to my marketplace products in the description below. Alright, let's get back to our tips. Ever notice how assets freely moved around often intersect with other objects? Enable surface snapping in the top right corner of your editor, and you will see your asset now snaps onto any surface. There are more handy snap options and hotkeys. Press your End key and watch your selected object snap to the floor. Hold V and drag your mesh to snap your selected object to the vertices of any other object in your world. This is extremely useful and I use those hotkeys all the time. Did you know you can take quick in-editor screenshots using F9, or you go with the high-resolution screenshot option, possess a cinematic camera, and create stunning marketing material for your game? When you're in the static mesh viewer, try holding L on your keyboard and use your mouse to drag the directional light around. This is incredibly useful to further inspect meshes. Here's a neat viewport trick. Hold Ctrl and drag with your middle mouse button in different directions to switch views. Drag up for top view, left for back view, and diagonally to return to normal view. You can easily create time-lapse or slow-motion shots using the sequencer. Simply click on this Add button and select Time Dilation Track. You are now able to change the speed of events in your world just by modifying this value. I, for example, created this. This tip took me ages to figure out, and it's incredibly useful. For instance, I exported this object with incorrect rotation, scale, and transform. Typically, you would need to adjust these in Blender and re-export the mesh, but with this method, you can easily do it inside of Unreal Engine. Just open your static mesh, navigate to the import settings in the details panel, go to the transform settings, and adjust those values as needed. You will notice that nothing changes immediately. First, you need to re-import the base mesh by clicking here. Now the settings are applied, while our location, rotation, and scale remain at their default values. This method also allows you to permanently change your pivot position. Now my pivot is exactly where I want it to be, permanently. When moving an object, you're familiar with the snapping steps, right? But what if you want to have something in between, for example 25? Then you can easily add your own custom snapping amount. Go to Edit, Editor Preferences, and search for Grid. Here you can also modify the rotation and scale steps. But I only want to add 25 to my move list, so I will just add 25, move it up a bit, and then you should see your new custom grid size in this list. I'm currently in the shopping mall and I want to select this mannequin here. Well, that doesn't work as we have glass in front of it. If you press T, you can suddenly select through every translucent object. Press T again and everything returns to normal. This is a massive time saver. Imagine you've spent half an hour perfecting a widget animation, only to realize you have 100 more buttons to animate. Well, I'm glad to tell you that you can copy widget animations. Simply right-click on the object you've animated and copy it. Then create a new animation and paste the copied object in here. Now we just need to change the animated object. Select the object you want to animate, right-click on this animate object and select Replace With, and you're all set. This tip is fantastic. You can call runtime editor events right from the editor. For example, I have this door and I want to open it. I just hit this editor button and it opens. It's very easy to set up. Just create a custom event in an actor, add your logic, and then set call in editor to true. If you then run your game and select the object you created the event for, you're able to run that event and the door opened. Here's how you can fix potential bugs and issues to ensure your players have a much better experience. Now, if I play this game, nothing happens. If you go to Edit, Editor Preferences and search for Break on Exception and enable this option and try it again, you will notice that the editor stops and directs you to an error that occurred. Are you tired of seeing complex math code all day, but still need to implement complex math functions? Why not use a math expression node? When you create this, you are able to set the name and your math expression. I can create new variables like this, which turn into inputs, making my code much more cleaner. If I open this, you can view your expressions converted to blueprint nodes. I know this looks incorrect, and it is. Just look at that shadow. That doesn't make any sense. To achieve this effect, you need to create a new material and set its blend mode to mask. Then you need a texture that represents how your shadow should look, as well as a texture that represents the shape of your plane. Connect all that to the shadow path switch node and connect that node with the opacity mask. There you go. You can convert the current pose of an animation into a static mesh asset. It's straightforward. Just go into the animation you want to use, pause at the exact moment you want to turn into a static mesh, then click on Make Static Mesh and save it somewhere. And you're already done. Now you have the static mesh you can use wherever you want. You can add a description to your project so when you hover over it, the text appears. This is especially useful if you have numerous projects and want to recall what each project was after a long time. To do this, simply open your U-project file with a text editor and modify the description to whatever you want. Whenever you delete a node and want to keep its connections, you can simply select the node, hold Shift and press delete, and it won't remove your connections. You probably already know that you can pilot a cinematic camera to easily move it wherever you want. But did you know that if you press Ctrl, Shift and P, you can actually pilot any object in your world, not just cameras. To exit this view, you can always press this eject button here. An incredibly simple way to create impressive landscapes is by using a height map. There are many ways to obtain a height map. You can even generate one using Midjourney or download real-world height maps. I decided to use this one. Back in Unreal Engine, you need to go into the landscape mode, and under New Landscapes, you need to select Import from File. Here, select the PNG file for the height map file. If you press Import, you will have your impressive landscape ready for your game. You can apply color correction to specific areas in Unreal Engine. But what is color correction and how does it differ from post-process volumes, you might ask? Well, thank you for asking. A color correction region doesn't require the camera to be within its volume for the effects to apply. So this can be used for interesting gameplay elements, for example. To use this, enable the color correction region CCR plugin. Then you will find the color correction region or the color correction window under volumes. Here are some essential editor hotkeys you should know. If you press G, you can hide all the editor symbols. Press it again and they will reappear. If you press P, you can show or hide navigation meshes. If you press H, you can hide objects. To unhide everything, press Ctrl+H. Have you imported an audio file and adjusted all its settings to fit perfectly in your game, and now you want to import another audio file without repeating the same tweaking process? Well, then you can select the audio file you want to copy the settings from and just import another file. It will ask you if you want to copy the settings, so just click yes. As you can see, we now have all of those settings in the new file as well. Did you know that you can enable plugins for all of your projects at once and have them automatically enabled for every new project you create? Simply locate your engine in the File Explorer. Click on Engine, then Plugins, and here you have numerous plugins to choose from. For Marketplace plugins, click on Marketplace to see all your installed Marketplace plugins. Once you decide which plugin you want to enable for every project, click on it and open the .u plugin file in the editor. In here, you need to add Enabled by default True. Save it and you're set. Now, when you open any project or create a new one, you will notice the plugin is already enabled. You've probably used the isValid node to check if a variable is valid. Did you know that you can also right-click on your variable and select Convert to Validated Get instead? This will achieve the same outcome. If you're making films and want to preview how your final render will look without actually rendering it, then this tip should help you a lot. When you press play, you will notice that you aren't viewing through your cinematic camera. To fix this, locate your level sequence in the content browser and drag and drop it into your level. Check autoplay and set the loop to loop indefinitely. Then press play again. You will see you have the preview you wanted. If you still want a mode where you don't look through the camera, then I've also got you covered. Just press simulate instead of play and you will get everything as it was before. Let's say you're creating a very complex material and you want to quickly connect its outputs to these pins right here. Simply right-click on what you created and select Connect to Base Color, for example. If you're trying to check how optimized your game is, you have several options. First, you can press Ctrl, Shift and Comma to open the GPU visualizer. This gives you a snapshot of your current scene with each color representing a rendering chunk. The larger the section, the less optimized it is. If you look at this bottom part, you can see how long something took to render. This helps you quickly identify what still needs optimization. Another way to find optimization opportunities is by using the stat unit graph console command. This will show you both a graph and real-time information on your stats. There are more methods, but the last one I want to show you is typing stat game into your console. This is my personal favorite. The larger the strat area is, the less optimized it is. You thought the search tips in the content browser were impressive, right? How about mastering the search syntax from the word outliner? You can search for a specific word like light, but you can exclude other words, for example point, by essentially subtracting it. You can also exclude multiple things at once by just adding more minuses and the words you want to exclude. For instance, sky, directional and volume. Now we're left with only our spotlights. If you are working with delegates and don't want these delegates lines all over your graph, you can just use event dispatches instead. Just search for create event and for the function, select the function you want to call. This works exactly the same way, but our graph stays clean. You've created this little ladder using static meshes and you want to turn it into a single static mesh instead of creating these groove thingies? Well, it's very simple. Just select your static meshes, hover over actor and choose convert actors to static mesh. Then save it somewhere and you can use it as if it was just one single asset. Are you unhappy with how the lights and atmosphere look in your game, but find it challenging to create a new one from scratch? Let me help you. Go to Window and then click Environment Light Mixer. Pay attention, don't select just Light Mixer, but Environment Light Mixer. Here you can easily create perfect lighting for your environment. If you press Alt+0, you get this light density view mode to see what still needs to be optimized. If you go to Build, Lighting Info and Lighting Static Mesh Info, you will get a table showing you various information about your light statistics. This is especially useful for identifying unoptimized objects that aren't in your field of view, like this cube which I've placed inside this floor for some reason. By the way, you can also press Alt and any other number on your keyboard for many other modes. To adjust the size of your gizmo, you first need to change the hotkeys for Expand and Shrink Transform widget in the editor preferences, as the original ones don't work in Unreal Engine 5. After you've done that, you can easily change the size of your gizmo. If you have annoying screen messages that you want to temporarily remove, just use the console command Disable all screen messages and you're good to go. Stop, wait a minute, see this guy right there? He's currently recording this video and it already took him weeks to make. Do you see the fun he has? Haha, this is so much fun. Yeah, after 50 tips everything was still fun and games, but little did he know that this video will take an overall time of 4 months to make. So what are you even waiting for? Scroll a bit down to at least like this video, and if you enjoyed this content and want to see more, then you should also subscribe. Also, please comment on your favorite tricks in the description. And now, let's continue. Please don't tell me this is how you set the member in a structure. Why not use the set member in struct node? With this node, you can select just the struct members you actually want to set. You can create a roster of your favorite blueprint nodes to speed up your blueprinting. In the node browser, you will see this little star icon. Click it to add a node to your favorites. To view your favorite list, go to Window and enable Palette. Now you can easily drag and drop your favorite nodes onto the graph. Instead of constantly browsing for your assets, why not select the object you want to navigate to and press Ctrl E. This will open the selected asset directly. Did you know, if you press Ctrl+Tab, a menu pops up that lets you easily access currently opened assets. If you have this open and press Tab again, you can actually go to the next asset in line, allowing you to quickly switch between your open assets. You can create subcategories for blueprint functions, macros and variables by placing a vertical bar between your category names. This way you can easily keep everything organized. Someday in the past, you probably tried to loop through each enum member but bursted out in tears after you realized you need to set up a dedicated array variable for each enum member, right? Or was it just me? Anyways, you can instead simply search for each and your enum name, and you will have the same outcome with much less effort. When you copy objects in your world, they usually spawn at the location of the copied object. If you want to paste at the cursor location instead, go to Edit, Editor Preferences and search for Paste here. Assign any key you want. Now, when you press that key while you have an object selected, it will paste at your exact cursor location. You can actually hide every object in your scene except for the ones you've selected. Just select your objects, right click, go to Visibility and click on Show Only Selected. I suggest also selecting your main light source to actually see something. To revert this, just press Ctrl H. If you want to smoothly zoom in your viewport, you can press Alt, your right mouse button and move your mouse. You probably know that if you drag and drop a color here, you can save it to use the exact same color later. But did you also know that if you click on this arrow, you can actually save your whole color palette and switch between them? If you want to use a console comment but aren't sure what it does, just write your console comment and put a question mark behind it. This will give you details about what the comment does. Never fumble around again when creating widgets. You actually have wrap and replace options when working with widgets. Let's say you want to change this button to an overlay. Just right click on the button, select replace and choose overlay. If you want this to be wrapped with a size box, right click the widget, select wrap and choose size box. This will save you an incredible amount of time. You can set the engine to auto reimport assets when they change. Let's say you have an image you know you will change often and don't want to manually reimport it every single time. Go to Edit, Editor Preferences and search for auto reimport. Enable monitor content directories. Click the plus button, then browse to the folder containing your image. Click on the other browse button and select your folder containing the correlated asset in your project. Disable prompt before action. Now if you re-export this image from Photoshop or Affinity Photo, the engine will automatically reimport the changed asset. You will thank me for this next one. When working with animations, you know the struggle of having one animation open and wanting to open another, only to realize it replaces the first one. Well, if you hold shift while opening an animation, it will actually open in a separate window, allowing you to have both animations open at the same time. You can compare blueprints with each other. Just select the ones you want to compare, right-click them and press Diff Selected. This window opens, showing colored sections where the blueprints differ. It also provides a side-by-side comparison of settings and even blueprint graphs, making it easy to determine all the differences between the blueprints. In your project's content browser, go to Filters, hover over Other Filters and enable Show Redirectories. These are generated for a smoother engine experience, but can cause weird packaging issues. I highly recommend fixing them before creating a new build. Right-click them and press Update Redirector References. Then select Delete Unreferenced Redirectories. This also fixes the issue where you can't delete a seemingly empty folder. Don't just delete the redirectories either, as it can break things really bad. You can right-click on the content folder and press Update Redirect References to fix the whole project at once. In the current Unreal Engine version, this is buggy and doesn't seem to work. Fixing redirectories can resolve packaging error messages and other issues like unexplainable renaming conflicts, so just fix the redirectories every now and then. If you're creating movies in Unreal Engine and your timeline gets messy, you can select similar items and press Ctrl-G to add them to a folder. This helps keep everything organized. You can filter log categories so you only get the logs you're interested in. If you are simulating your world and have some physics objects you're playing around with and you realize it's perfectly laid out, just select the object and press K. This way, if you quit the simulation, the asset actually stays in the exact position you left it. If you press Ctrl+L while in Viewport and hold Ctrl while moving the mouse, you can easily change the direction of the sunlight. Let's say you have an object you want to light, but don't want to light the surroundings. In your Light Sources Details panel, search for channel and enable the second channel while disabling the first one. Then in the object you want to light, also search for the channel and enable both the first and the second channel. This way it's lit by both the world and the point light, while any other object is only lit by the world light. You probably know that you can bookmark locations in your world and jump between them, but did you know that you can also bookmark specific locations in your blueprint graphs? You can select this code and bookmark it with Ctrl-1. To jump to your bookmark, press Shift-1. You can zoom in the editor by holding right-click and pressing C, or holding right-click and pressing Z. You can set widgets to be your favorite, so you don't have to search them all the time. Just click on the favorite icon of any widget and it will create a favorite section from which you can easily drag and drop widgets from. If you have a blueprint event and decide you want to create a function out of it, you can do so by right-clicking the event and pressing Convert Event to Function. You can do the same with any selected blueprint code. You can convert it back by right-clicking the function and clicking on Convert Function to Event. In your project settings under Maps and Modes, you can set the startup maps for both your game and the editor. Now when you set a map and start your editor, you will be directly in the level you want to be in. Go to Edit, Editor Preferences, click on Appearance and find the Asset Editor Open Location option. If you select New Window, whenever you open an asset, it will open up in a new window. If you select Main Window, the asset window always gets added to the main window instead of creating a new one. Experiment with the other options to see what you like best. Does your level look cluttered with light radius indicators? You can press G to hide everything, but then you don't see the asset you want to see. There's a way to only hide the light radius indicator. Press Alt+R. Press Alt+R again to show the indicators again. When creating functions, they can quickly become unorganized due to every connection coming from the initial node. Did you know that you can also get the input from your function as a variable? Now you can use this variable to tidy up your function's code. In the Material Editor, you have an incredible option to organize your code. Instead of using normal reroute nodes, you can right-click on one and press Convert to Named Reroute. This way you can visually split up your code while the functionality still persists. If you search for the name you gave the named reroute node, you can even have it multiple times. Here are some shortcuts you can use in your blueprint graph. Hold B and click for branch, hold P and click for event begin play, hold S and click for sequence, hold D and click for delay, hold M and click for multigate. You can also hold G and click for gate, N and click for do N, and even more. But for some reason not every hotkey works for me since I switched to Unreal Engine 5.4. You also have some shortcuts in your Material Editor graph. Hold A and click for Add, hold B and click for Bump Offset, hold 1 to 4 and click for Const values, hold D and click for Divide, hold I and click for an if statement, hold L and click for Lerp, hold M and click for Multiply, hold N and click for Normalize, hold O and click for 1-, hold P and click for Panner, hold E and click for Power, hold S and click for Scalar Parameter, hold U and click for Texture Coordinate, hold T and click for a Texture Sample, hold V and click for a Vector Parameter. If you go to Plugins and enable the Actor Palette plugin, you will have access to an incredibly useful tool. After enabling it, go to Tools and create a new Actor Palette. Choose any level you like. You will see this level beside your actual level. The cool thing is that you can just drag and drop any object from this world into the other world. Let me introduce the Format text node, my favorite blueprint node in the entire editor. Please stop using append strings everywhere. Use this node and add curly brackets to have a much easier time appending bits of text together. If you want to quickly find an asset from your project, just press Ctrl+P to open the quick search menu. This must be one of my favorite Unreal Engine features. Did you know that you can press Shift and right click on any details panel value to copy it, then go to another object and paste the copied value with Shift plus left click? When in Editor, you can type freeze rendering into your console to freeze object culling. This makes it easier to debug culling or occlusion. Here's how you can cut a hole of any shape into any wall in Unreal Engine. First move the shape that represents the hole into the wall. Then go into Modeling tab and select Model. Select the wall and the shape. Choose Boolean and then the operation type that works for you. Click on Accept and you're finished. To prevent unwanted camera movement after you've precisely set the camera to the perfect position, just right click on the camera when it's selected and lock the object's position. If you're trying to squeeze the last bit of performance out of your game, try this. In your console command input dump ticks. At the bottom of your output log, you will see how many different tick events are currently running in your world. Above, you will see each object that has a running tick event. Now you know what tick events you might not need and can disable them. Speaking of ticks, you can disable the event tick for blueprints by default. Just go to the project settings and disable Can Blueprints tick by default. If you type help into your console, it actually generates a small website containing every available console command, complete with explanations. You can disable the world grid by executing the r.editor.newLevelGrid0 console command. To change it back, type r.editor.newLevelGrid2 or input r.editor.newLevelGrid1 for a red grid. You can even modify the entire grid as it's just a material. First enable engine content, then go to Engine, Editor Materials, and you will find the Level Grid Material 2 material. You can change this to anything you want. You can simulate low latency for multiplayer games to see how it affects your game. Go to Editor Preferences and navigate to the Play section. Scroll down to find some networking settings. Tick Enable Network Emulation and set the network emulation profile to bad. You could also set your own numbers, but this preset works well. Now when you play, you will see lag and can test your game under these conditions. Here's an incredibly useful tip. If you want to edit multiple assets at once, perhaps to change a specific setting you forgot to change on every asset, select all the assets you want to modify, right-click them, go to Asset Actions and select Edit Selection in Property Matrix. Here you will see all the settings of your assets, and any changes you make will apply to every selected asset. In input fields like this, you can do calculations right in the input field. For example, type 5 plus 5 and it automatically sets it to 10. This also works for the default value of variables. What's 7 times 23 is 161 and the engine calculates it for you. To quickly rename an asset, just select it and press F2. This shortcut works throughout the whole engine. It's a simple tip, but incredibly useful. There's a Spline mesh actor available by default. Just search it in here and it should pop up right away. Here you can change your mesh and other properties without needing to create your own Spline blueprint from scratch every time. Here are some blueprint graph hotkeys to make your graph look cleaner. Press Q to make connections straight, Shift A aligns nodes to the left, Shift D to the right, Shift W to the top, Shift S to the bottom, use Alt Shift S for center and Alt Shift W for middle alignment. If you want to take a closer look at the details of your level, you can do that by typing r.tonemapper.sharpen and any number, for example 10, into the console. This allows you to observe every little detail, which might help you optimize your scene. If you enabled some engine stat and you want to permanently enable it so it also works after you restarted the engine, then go over to Editor, Editor Preferences and search for Save Engine Stats. Enable it and you're good to go.